This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com.
Welcome back. This is Chandler Rose, and I'm working on the feet, which is a continuation of my blending massage modalities series. The feet, it's a great way to address the entire body. So even if you were to just participate in this video, it would still feel really great. So I'm just gonna start by holding the heels, and you can find a comfortable seat. Make sure your person receiving has their feet elevated. And this is much better for the ankles and for the hips. And set an intention. My intention is to continue to create more balance in the body, more alignment, more movement of energy, and more relaxation. So I have my handmade Rosie's Remedy. I'm just going to apply on her lower legs and feet. And when I work on the feet, I like to first address both feet at the same time. So I'm using this holding technique on the heels, and then coming in with my thumbs, a little deeper pressure along the sides of the heels. It can feel really good. Our feet really take a beating with just walking on them and standing a lot. So I find that 50% of people like really deep footwork and 50% like pretty light footwork. So it's interesting, and I always learn from whatever feet I'm working on what kind of pressure that person likes. So Sulema here, she has pretty flexible feet and pretty healthy tissue in her feet. There's not a whole lot of super dense hypertonic muscles, so I can work pretty easily into the arches of the feet. If you're curious about reflexology, I recommend looking up a reflexology map for the feet. It's pretty cool. I don't get super serious about it, but I have taken reflexology classes, and I find the most important takeaway for me from reflexology theory is just that our whole body is connected. So if I'm working on the feet, I'm affecting the neck, and I'm affecting the organs, and I'm affecting the sinuses. And if you're curious about that, then I would say get some reflexology from someone that's really studied it, because it can get pretty technical. And I think that's so interesting. If your intention goes to working on a specific area of the body, a reflexology map can really show you the way. So right now I've encountered some kind of crunchy tissue around her heart center and her lungs. And I am going to just make the intention of moving that energy around and doing some circles into the areas of the feet that seems to get the most contact with the ground. So if you have a sensitive foot person, they might even wear socks during a session, and that's okay. You can do very simple placement acupressure points on the feet. I think the feet are a very good way to wind down at the end of the massage, but it's also a really good icebreaker if you're working with someone that maybe they've never had a full professional massage and they have just had their feet rubbed. Well, that's a good place to start because it's familiar to that person. And then on the other side of it, I have lots of people that don't want their feet worked on at all. So in those cases, I would respect that boundary And I would encourage those clients to work directly on their own feet. And so this could be a really valuable self-care, motivating video for someone that just wants to understand the tension in their own feet. So if you're learning massage or studying any sort of professional massage, there is kind of a rule about tissue. And this is that if the tissue is hard and painful and not new to injury, so let's say someone's had painful, dense tissue in their feet for a month. This is a chronic thing. And the best way to release that hard, tense tissue is much like you would stretch any other part of your body. You want to get that tissue warmed up. So foot massage, self-foot massage, or for someone else, if the foot is very painful, or maybe you've heard of something called plantar fasciitis. A lot of times that means that there is stagnation in the body, so like a lack of energy flow in the feet, either from so much contact, from lack of water. It could be due to diet. It could be due to shoes or stress. Lots of different things. But the rule that I mentioned before is that if the tissue is uninjured, so it's just painful and tight, and there has not been an injury within 6 weeks, the best way to address that, and the safest way, is to soften the tissue with massage. So if the tissue on the other side of things is not painful and is very malleable or movable, then usually you can go deeper. So on painful tissue, you're gonna do lighter pressure. On tissue that is less painful, you're gonna do deeper pressure. This isn't 100% always the case, but it's kind of a good way to get people to work into their feet, because I've encountered a lot of people that have such sore feet, they just want to avoid their feet. They do not want to go there because it hurts so much. So that's okay. If they don't want to get their feet worked on, maybe you work on their hands or their neck or their head or their scalp. But if the best treatment for that is to have it massaged, then I would just encourage them, if they're not willing to let you work on their feet, to work on their own feet, to take some really yummy organic massage cream or oil. And it could be as simply as distributing oil on the feet. Maybe you're not going to do deep work, or they're not going to, but they're still getting some softening from the oils. Another way to work with really tender feet is to have them soak their feet for 20 minutes before you work on them. You can do, really warm water with sea salt or Epsom salts. Or maybe you just do warm water with lavender. Or if you're really up for a little foot treatment, then get both going. Get your salts and get your oils and set them up in a way where you can soak off that first layer of tension by softening the feet in hot water. I do think this is why pedicures are so popular. I don't think it's as much about the nails as it is about people getting touched, getting their feet rubbed. But again, some people have had bad experiences with pedicures, so they might have some trauma there. So be gentle with the feet if that person is just easing their way into getting their feet opened up. And then if you have someone that's willing to get deeper work, like right now I'm doing some circles along the upper thoracic area. And I say that because in reflexology, if you were to look at a map, this would represent the upper thoracics. And I'm opening that because she has tension there. And you're gonna feel the crunchiness Another really good and helpful place to work is along the arches, and you're gonna feel probably this is the most tender area, especially right in the center of the arch. There's a point about here. And if you look at a reflexology map, this would be the hips, and this would be the top of the head, and this would be the curvature of the spine. So the idea is if you're opening up around these points that correlate or connect to the spine, you're helping relax the whole body that way. So cool. And even if you don't believe that to be true, having your feet rubbed feels good. Definitely taps into parasympathetic, your chill mode, your mode of falling asleep and resting, your mode of getting out of your mind and feeling more into your body. And I'll do the same thing on this side. And now I definitely feel a difference from left to right. She's dominant on her right side, which we've discovered during our sessions with her. And so I'm gonna go a little less deep on this foot, but be a little more intentional with what I'm moving because her tissue feels a little more dense over here. It's a good practice to take some deep, slow breaths in the feet. If you see someone that tenses their feet or their toes, you may want to back off in pressure. I find that massage therapists and people just that like to give massages oftentimes have an expectation going in on what they're going to do. But I would encourage you or invite you to let go of that and just maybe listen to the body. If there is a reaction in the body, then perhaps you need to back off for a moment. And if you have a client that really likes to direct you while you're giving a massage, which is also just as common as being in the position of giving, then I would listen. If they have something, they're like, I really need this worked on, or this feels better this way. Try not to be offended by that and just listen, because that's why you're here. You're here to, make a change, support this space. Human contact in this safe space is very healthy. It's good for all of our mechanisms, our hormones, our metabolism, our nervous system, our immune system, our mood. There's so much that seems to come from getting, even just a 10-minute foot massage can be valuable to changing the vibe of your whole day or evening. So on her right foot, I'm going to take a little raking technique through the ball of the foot, moving some of this stagnant energy. I also think it's interesting to work on lots of different kinds of feet, because some people are barefoot a lot. Some people, are more nomadic and on their feet. And some people are, on airplanes all the time or in crazy serious shoes or heels. There's a lot of variation in feet. So it can be pretty interesting. The points that I think are pretty important to know about would be the sinus points. Most of us at one point or another have some sinus stagnation. And these would be the toe pads or the finger pads if you're doing reflexology on the hands. And I invite you to look up a hand map as well, very similar to the feet. And then on the big toe, you have this point in the tarsal or the metatarsal that is a channel that connects with the neck and head. And sometimes I see that People have neck injuries, and I feel it. I can totally feel it in that toe. So I don't know enough about it to call myself a reflexologist, but I know enough, and I've worked on probably thousands of feet at this point, to say that I believe in reflexology. I believe that there is a real traditional method here that should be honored or respected. So practice, get some feedback, you know. I've had clients say, you worked on my feet 3 times and they never hurt again, you know, and that was after years. And it's like, it's surprising to me, but at the same time, it is kind of hard to work on the bottoms of your feet. You can work on your arches, but having someone else address your feet can be super helpful. I invite you to work on your own feet, even if it isn't that easy. And I invite you to share this video with your partner or friend. Maybe you can trade. It's a good gift that doesn't cost anything. Sharing a little massage video with someone. And working on the feet is just a wonderful way to end your session. Offers this sense of completion. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope your feet are feeling really relaxed. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.
Many of our subscribers don't see our videos. Make sure that you click the notification bell.
Introducing Yoga Plus, offering a free series every month with over 300 different videos. Take control of your health. Work out anytime, anywhere. Yoga Plus. Download now for free.